It's Jess on TikTok Radio IRL, joined by Gwen Stefani.
Meow.
No way. I needed to bring you something. It's not necessarily a gift, but it's something that we have in common.
Oh, what is it? Do I need my glasses?
No, you should be fine.
Okay.
A Cal State Fullerton.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
I also graduated from Cal State Fullerton.
It's so long ago. I didn't even know we were the Titans.
You're like, where is this? Are you sure this is the right logo?
I mean, I'm not going to lie. Am I supposed to keep this? No. I did not graduate, sadly. But I did go to school for a very long time. And I remember I was finally doing like my art major. Like I was like, okay, I can't do anything but art. I'll figure it out. And I remember I was painting and doing life drawing, and literally just a girl came out, and then I left and never came back for like 2.5 years on tour. So I didn't get to finish. I think they still have all my paintings and stuff.
Yeah, and I've seen videos of you performing at Cal State Fullerton. So it's really cool. I'm born and raised in SoCal, so to be able to watch all that you've done. I mean, I was a fan well before going to Cal State Fullerton, but just seeing that you also went there and everything that you've done.
My dad went
since
there.
Then. Really?
Yeah.
So it is
and
like in
almost
your blood.
all the band members. My brother went there, Tom, Adrian, Tony. We all went there. I also went to a lot of schools. I went to Cypress Junior College,
nice.
Fullerton Junior College, and then finally got enough credits to move on. But yeah.
And then she dipped out.
I'm so happy. Like every time my kids are like doing homework and stuff, I'm like, I'm done with that. I never have to do that again. Some people are school people and some people are not. So I'm not.
I get what you're saying, though. Well, congrats on Purple Irises. It's finally out with your husband, Blake Shelton.
I know. So unexpected, too, because I wrote that song. I wrote a song. Like, it wasn't going to be a duet.
Right.
It was about me and Blake, but I played it for him. And the fact that now it's out, he's on it. I just always like to go rewind back and think of myself like sitting at the Voice, like one chair away from Blake, somebody in between us, and like going, why do people like Blake? Like, I don't even know. Like, I'd never heard of him before. You know what I mean? Like, it's like so weird to think that there was a time where like he was just this country guy I didn't know about, and now we're on a song together. It's like, it's such an incredible, amazing miracle. And just, it's so exciting. It's one thing to have songs out like by yourself, but with your favorite person, like it's even more fun.
Yeah, my mom and I love your love stories, so it's really cool. Every time you guys come out with a new song, and I know your first performance was at TikTok Tailgate at Super Bowl 58, and I imagine when it comes to your music, there's sort of like this circle that you complete as an artist, where first you start with writing the song, and then comes recording the song, and then that performance is when the circle comes full circle. It finishes. So after,
and then hearing on the radio too. That's
course,
that's number 4 of excitement.
So when you were able to perform at TikTok Radio or at the TikTok Tailgate, how did you end up feeling about Purple Irises?
I'm notorious for like screwing up, especially like live, which I don't mind. Like if it's my own show, like it happens all the time, and I always feel like I'm really good at like making something out of it, and whoever's at that show live, they always have fun. But when it's being streamed or on TV or something like that, it's not as cute. You know what I'm saying? So I was like,
in post.
And then if it's like with Blake, who's like so perfect and pro and incredible, like it's, you know, I was like, it was a tall order. And I feel like we only really realized, just being that we're so busy, and half the stuff my manager tells me just kind of goes woo right through, you know what I mean? I try to focus, but anyways, I didn't know it was even going to be like on the TV. Like I thought we were just being streamed. I was like, oh, it's going to be on a small phone. Like some people might check it out or whatever, but to be like on the actual before the Super Bowl on TV, I was like, what? So we were just really excited, and I had a lot of things against me. Like I had like this new costume, I had new shoes on, which all these things are very specific. Like the way I dress on stage is there's a reason for it. Like I have to be in my uniform, like, you know. So I had like that outfit I was wearing has this like fringe. It was probably, I don't even know how many pounds, like at least 10 pounds, like the whole thing.
Gosh.
I was like, so all these things were happening. And also I had like this weird freak thing where I was like running across the room the day before to run out of the house, and I like something pinged in my actual buttocks. And
oh my God.
and all of a sudden I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to perform. What is this? You know, it's actually I guess I did something to my back just trying to do so many like lunges and get ready for the show. You know what I mean? One of those things. So I had like all these things, but when he came out for Purple Irises, it was like, it just felt really perfect and calm, and like we just looked at each other, and it was like, oh my gosh, we're doing this, and it's just funny because we have our lives behind the scenes, and then when we're like there, and we actually, it's like anyone else, like you have something that you're working on, and then you get to share it. It's like, oh my God, we're here. It's Christmas. You know what I mean? Like,
well, that's what I was curious with you about as well, because obviously you two have worked together, you've created music together and performed together. But when you do perform with Blake, just hearing the way you speak so highly of him, does it put you at ease, or is there like more added pressure when you perform on stage with him?
I mean, it's been a long time now, really, because it's been like almost 9 years together, which is, I know everyone's like, what, how, like, you know, because that's how we feel. It went really fast, but like different scenarios. Like the other day, we were doing something for like a country radio thing, which is obviously not my world, right? And like, and it's like, when the two worlds come together, that's when it gets really surreal. So you sometimes like don't know. I know how to man my stage, but how do I man a stage with Blake? Because he mans his stage, and so, and then we have our like us together at home. So it's like, I don't know. It is an interesting, fun combination, and I think this song was leaning more towards, because I wrote the song and it was more towards my world. It made it really exciting from him, you know what I mean? Because I've hopped on a lot of his music, but for him to hop on mine, it was funny. Like even him coming in the studio to do the demo the first time, because I wrote this song with this girl called Nico. She's actually an artist from LA, and she's very cool, and she's like in her I don't know, 21 or something. I don't even know how old she is, but
so
she
young.
literally is like, baby. Well, this is the story. She's like, you don't understand, like, my mom listened to you, like, no doubt, you know. So like I'm going in the studio with this girl going, this is just too weird. Like, granted, I think her mom had her when she was like 16 or something, so it's like whatever, but still, right? It's just weird. And she's an artist herself. And then the other guys that I wrote with were from Sweden, these guys called Jack and Coke, so they're coming all the way over from Sweden, and I don't know them, and I'm driving to the studio to write, thinking, please, Jesus, like, just give me something. Like, I don't want to come in there and like look like a dummy. Like, I didn't like come with something. I'm not creative or whatever. And anyways, the title came to me like as I'm pulling into the driveway, and it was just like, whoa, okay. And we wrote the song, and we were all just at that point. It doesn't matter where you're from, how old you are. It's like we all made this thing together, you know?
Exactly.
And so you could picture that group of people, and then Blake Shelton showing up.
Coming on in there,
And it was like he walks in, he's like literally hitting the ceiling, and it's just funny, you know what I mean? It's just funny to watch him in that room, and you know, it's just the whole thing's fun. Everything now is like, it feels kind of like when you've had like a long career, and I feel so blessed. Everything else is just like icing on the cake. So it's almost like you don't take any of it for granted. You know what I mean? Like just to be able to have the time to go write a song is just precious. So yeah, I feel blessed.
Yeah, and I know you're super into gardening. Are those flowers on your glasses? Speaking of which, I feel like you're so into this flower and garden aesthetic right now. And Blake as well, right?
Well, I feel like when I met Blake, he has a ranch, and that's like his number one favorite thing to do is be on the ranch. And I used to go there and think, I'd never had like been around nature like that. Like our nature is like the beach, you know what I mean? Like
it's a very different.
So like I would be like, I didn't think I would like that, like bugs and like dirt and like, I don't know, hot like weather. And I just was like, I don't know about ranch, just didn't seem cool, like something I would like. But getting there and realizing how amazing it is, the nature, and just something I didn't even know I needed. And he would do a lot of like farming for the animals. So he has a lot of animals, and he would feed them by planting these huge food plots and like things on a tractor. Like I'd be like, oh my God, you're on a tractor. You're so hot.
So
like,
cool.
You know what I mean? Like it's
just different.
It's just different. I never been around that. And so one year I was like, hey, can we, instead of planting alfalfa, like boring, I was like, let's plant some zinnias. People call them zinnias. And I was like, I was like, because my mom used to plant those when I was a kid. And I used to always be like, why are you putting your time into that? Like, you're so weird. And like, also my dad would be like cutting the branches of the trees and we'd have to pick them up. And I'd be like, I'm not even going to have a tree at my house when I grow up because I don't want to pick up leaves. You know what I mean? So now here I am. And we planted these and he was so amazed by just how cool it was to watch them come up after all the effort we made together. So it kind of like got us into it. And also because like Oklahoma has so much weather, I think that we never really spent time to really understand this, like what was coming next. And so during 2020, we'd be there all the time because we were in quarantine there. And so we'd be like, oh my gosh, look at that wild iris that's growing there. And we never got to see that because we were never there, like during that time of the month. Right. And so it just got us really fascinated with the land. And just to be part of that is just, it's very like, I feel like gardening and planting seeds and you're like planting hope, and it's very like reminiscent to our lives. Like you can it's so it's so much parallel. And I think that in this album I just reference that a lot because it just is the truth of life. Like it's like you go through, you have to weather the storm, and if you make it out on the other side, if you make something great out of something bad, you know what I mean? And it's just there's just so much truth in it.
I remember you talking about the story with the purple irises, how you ended up transplanting them with your family. And you also described purple irises as being hardy and able to withstand any weather, really. How would you say purple irises represent your relationship to Blake?
Well, I mean, honestly, like Blake and I feel like that's a really deep, like long answer. I'm like, are we in therapy or are we on the radio?
I mean, sometimes it counts as both.
That was a good question though. But I think that I feel like Blake and I is like, after so much hardship in love in my lifetime, like to find my best friend is like, that's Blake. So it doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing, we will figure it out together. And that's just, I guess that's the dream, right? And of course there's going to be hardships we're all human beings. It's coming, and that's where I plant myself in faith, and that's what my parents taught me, my mom taught me. And it's where I go every single day to kind of start my day. And I know 100% at this point in my life that everything that's happened to me is a true miracle, and that I was chosen to be able to receive the songs and share them. And so, that's kind of my answer for that.
I love it.
Whether you want to hear it or not, that's
such a great answer.
That's the truth of who I am.
Yeah. And before I let you go, I have to ask you one final TikTok question, because I'm not sure if you've seen all of the videos created to Just a Girl. Have you been able to watch any of those?
You know what's so amazing about TikTok to me is like people that are discovering my music for the first time. Right. That blows my mind. Like I was literally in a Walmart, like grocery shopping in Tishomingo. Well, basically it's Kingston, Oklahoma, and it's the only place to go to the grocery store. And so Blake literally hides out in the truck in the parking lot, trying not to get attacked by people.
Spotted.
And I'm like, I'll go in, I got this, thinking I'm gonna get away with it. And this is just last weekend, and all these little girls were coming up to me, and they're like 10, and I'm like, how do you even know me? Like it just makes me and then not only like getting a photo, but like leaning in and launching in for like a big hug. And it just makes me so happy. And I know that they're finding that music,
through TikTok,
which is just like, that would not have happened years ago. You know what I mean? It's just very cool.
Yeah, it's just the way it works. My favorite trend is with your music is the Just a Girl trend, because it can go in multiple directions. There's girls being like, oh, take the trash out. I'm just a girl. I don't want to take the trash out. Or like, how many lip glosses do you have in your purse? I'm just a girl. I have 7 lip glosses.
That's so cool.
I was curious what your caption would be with your
song.
Well,
I always felt like that song was written because it was like a sarcastic thing to say that, right? Like, and me being back in the day, I can just remember, for me, the key thing was, and it's kind of like what I'm going through now being a parent, like I can remember driving to my boyfriend's house and feeling just so vulnerable because my dad was like he made me feel that way because he knew what I didn't know, which is I was, do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
As a girl. And so, and also like, I remember thinking like, wow, it's kind of like a flower. Like you're kind of born into the world, right? And you don't think of your gender or who you are. You just are a human. And then you start to kind of blossom and find out that you have this like superpower as a girl, and someone's like whistling at you, and you're just kind of like, you're like, oh, if I act like this and I can get this. And like, it's just like this discovering yourself, you know what I mean? And that was kind of the inspiration behind Just a Girl. So I can see it can come. You can use it. You can use your girlhood both ways. You know what I'm saying?
100%. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on Purple Irises. And that was Gwen Stefani on TikTok Radio IRL.
Yay,
thank you.
Thank you.